Hello, and welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Whether you're going for that next promotion, looking for a job, or making a career pivot, I'll teach you how to navigate it all so you can have the career you want. Welcome to episode 54. Wow, this is so exciting. I think this is like maybe the 1 year anniversary. I don't know. We're right around that 1 year mark, almost to the day of when I started this podcast. And I've really enjoyed sharing experiences and insights and encouragement to help you along the way with your job search and your career. One of my favorite things to do is to coach for interview preparation. And one of the coolest things I see happen is the interview prep, especially on the calls that I record, the mock interviews that I record with my clients. We can actually look at and watch the progression of interview skills from the first calls we did to all through to the last calls that we do. It's so fascinating how most people are just not comfortable talking about themselves. Like no one teaches us how to do that, right? So when you get into an interview situation and you have to talk about yourself, our brain tells us that this is a completely new experience. We've never done this before. We've never shared in this kind of a way. And let me tell you, that is absolutely untrue. You know how to talk to people. And I love doing interview prep because what we're doing is we're breaking through some of that primitive thinking and we're being very strategic about what you say, how you say it, and today's topic, the questions that you ask in an interview. I had a client come back to me the other day and say, "Oh my gosh, the interview went so well. And by the way, the questions I asked that you gave me to ask throughout the conversation, the feedback I got was, wow, those were really smart questions." I want you to leverage every ounce of your value in an interview, and the best way to do that is to ask questions. Because here's the deal. We know how to talk to people. We know how to do that give and take back and forth. A question's asked, a question's answered. Maybe you're looking for a little more context, right? We know how to do that. You know how to do it in your personal life. You know how to do it in your professional life. So you know how to do it in an interview. And it becomes a little bit more of a plug and play, right? You're just going to drop those communication skills into your interview, but you can be strategic and give yourself even more opportunity to share your value when you ask great questions. So let me throw a few of them out there. Some of them are a little more obvious than others. One of the favorite ones to ask is, what is the biggest challenge for this role? Or what company challenge, team challenge, business challenge does this role address? When you get the answer to that question, it's not just information for you to kind of know what you're walking into, right? Like you want to know that. One time in an interview, I asked why the role was being filled. And I was told, well, there's been a lot of turnover in the role. There had actually been 3 people before me in 18 months that had been in that role. Now, I could have looked at that as, holy cow, what is wrong with this situation and what am I walking into? But I also asked about how long the team had been there. No one had been there for more than 10 months and a couple of people had been there for just a few months. So in my mind, what that meant was maybe there's been a lack of leadership here. Maybe the team hasn't been developed to their full potential. So for me, that was an opportunity to jump in, talk about my leadership skills, share some examples of the way I have turned poor performing teams around, which I got to kind of be known for that back in my retail years. But isn't that cool? Like I got a chance to share more of my value and to give that hiring manager reassurance that I knew exactly what I was going to do when I jumped in, that I was not thrown off at all. You can do the same thing when you ask a question and you get information that's going to help you showcase your skills. So the challenge one is kind of obvious, and I love asking that one. Here's another reason why I love asking questions in interviews is because it's for your information. It's because you're going to get more context, and it's because you're going to be able to showcase your skills, but it's also showing the person who's interviewing you that you're curious, that you care, that you're seeing a bigger picture here. That's why those are smart questions. That's why it helps someone feel assured that you're not just thinking about yourself in the circumstance of landing a job, but you're thinking about other people. Another great question to ask has to do with leadership. Many people I work with are leaving toxic work environments, and they're just nervous and anxious and kind of freaked out that they're going to end up in the same toxic, micromanaging experience that they're leaving. They don't want to go there again, and I don't blame them. I've been there, and I don't want you to go there either. So a great question to ask is focused around leadership. Just come straight out and ask the question. Describe your leadership style. What are your favorite leadership books? Maybe ask a question about who is your biggest influence when it comes to your leadership style. Or maybe you ask, who was their favorite manager in your career past and why? These questions will give you a ton of insight into the leadership style of the person that's interviewing you, and ask them of your boss's boss too, right? Go right up the line. This is going to give you a sense of the culture that you're entering and whether or not that person actually even knows anything about leadership, right? Is that something they're paying attention to in their career? If they don't have answers for you that directly relate to their style, there's a good chance they're really not focused on themselves as a leader. They're not investing in themselves as a leader, and they might just be playing it by ear. The ones who are leaders know exactly the influences in their world, the people who have impressed them, and the people who they have adopted leadership style cues from. Such a powerful thing. Another area for asking questions is team questions. Asking about the team culture. Questions like, what do you do when you get together? How often does the team get together? How do you guys keep each other motivated? Wouldn't that be cool to know? Like, are they actually involved in motivating each other and sharing knowledge with each other? Asking these kinds of questions is going to give you amazing insight. And lately, I've been thinking another great question to ask would be the tell me about yourself question, right? You know you're going to get asked that question. What if you flip the tables and say to the interviewer, you know what? I would love it if you would tell me about yourself too. Wow, how cool would that be? I'll tell you that a lot of hiring managers are not super comfortable interviewing, no matter how much they've interviewed. And a lot of times they have a lot on their mind. They could be backfilling the role that they're hiring for, or maybe the bandwidth is stretched so thin across the team, and that's why this role is being added. When you get the person engaged in talking about themselves a little bit, you'll get them to relax. You'll get to help them focus on you and engage with you so that some of those other distractions, stresses, and pressure that they're feeling are not an issue through the rest of the conversation. So powerful. So gosh, I dare you guys, ask that tell me about yourself question to the person interviewing. I think it would be so cool. Lastly, think about asking questions like you are a consultant. Think about it from the framework of what do I need to know so that I can show that I am exactly the right person to help this person achieve their goals, to solve their pain points, and to really be a member of the team that's going to create impact. That's the other thing asking questions does. It shows you care. And caring, everybody wants to be cared for. Everybody wants to feel heard. Imagine how awesome it is to give the hiring manager or the VP or the CEO a chance to be heard for their vision, for the way they're attacking the problems and the way they want to see progress. So powerful. This is why asking questions is smart. This is why asking questions creates conversation that leads to someone taking action, moving you on to the next stages of the interview process. When you ask questions, you are being someone who is showing up just like someone who already has the job, right? Because you're asking questions all the time, every day. It's how we interact with each other. So don't be afraid to include questions in your interviews. Get them in there as soon as possible. Don't wait till the end. Create conversation, and I'm telling you, your interviews will change. The dynamic will change dramatically. You'll feel in control, and you'll have so many more opportunities to showcase your value and demonstrate what it's like to work with you day in, day out. Now, for the question lists that I mentioned, I'm going to put those in the show notes for you. These are question lists that I share frequently on LinkedIn. I want you to have immediate access to them. And of course, if you have any questions about it, message me. I would be happy to help. And try these questions out in the mock interviews that you do and see how cool it is to engage with people with questions that show you're curious, show you care, and showcase your value. All right. Until next time. Bye. If you like listening to this podcast, and you are going to love my program, Job Search Field Guide. This is a unique opportunity. I offer group coaching alongside a 5-step process to help you land a job quickly. So I hope you will join me in Job Search Field Guide. This is going to be revolutionary to your career journey and your job search, and you get lifetime access. So find it at elissashuck-careercoach.com, and I will see you there.